What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight, kicking off a brand new week here at My Cowboys Family.
Hell yeah, let's do this, baby. Getting a little closer to training camp.
Yes, every single day, right? So tonight, take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at My Cowboys Family. And, of course, hop in the Discord. The link for that's in the description box down below.
Guys, new week, as you heard what to do. You know what to do when you come in here. Just like Mike McCarthy's looking at Dak saying, thumbs up. Give the thumbs up here, My Cowboys family, as we grow the channel on the night. Oh, speaking of growing the channel, we got someone back in the membership, baby, because of a fantastic gift given to you guys by the man staying skeptical fan in the house. And gifting a membership, again, now he's tied the all-time record from himself, setting it last month. Mr. Skeptical Fan with 24 gifted memberships this month. Ahead of Jason Renfro, I think it's 24-16 in the fourth quarter here. And again, the month will determine the champion. At the end of the month, we'll crown someone once again, and will Skeptical go back-to-back like our 90s Cowboys? We'll see on the gifted side. It is one of the best ways to share the love here on this channel. So appreciate the man staying skeptical, and congrats to Tommy Montoya being part of the membership side of things. But maybe we got to shout out those people that make the world go round. And,
That's right.
Skeptical Fan now officially jumps into first place. And Dwayne Broussard, see him right there already on the board. He got a pre-stream $4 holler.
With a classic Go Cowboys.
That Go Cowboys, always what we need here on MCF. So much love to the top dog, Dwayne Broussard. Much love to the Skeptical Fan. As I update the board, I know we got to also shout out some people that have been rolling here as the representation for a new week on My Cowboys Family. The sponsor of the week, all the way from Hawaii,
Mark Hovsepp.
Hell yeah.
Mahalo to you, Mark, of course. And he's not just representing as the sponsor of the week. You see him bossing that stream around fully loaded with 81 points there. Sorry, baby, you were doing some behind-the-scenes stuff there, so I had to double-check on my phone. And, he's just one of the people representing here, because we all know why our Cash App King is here, SnugX. Thank you so much, representing on the Cash App side of things, of course. And, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Snug. Thank you for the pre-stream drops there, Skeptical and Dwayne.
Yes.
We have a few other shout-outs to give here
in just a second. And I just want to say, SnugX, much love to him as the Cash App King. There is nobody leading right now. It's empty in the Cash App. And, of course, Mark Hovsepian, like you said, baby, 81 points, 13 out of 14 weeks, corralling that stream boss. And also the sponsor of the week, maybe starting off a new record-setting streak. He has the last record-setting streak of 15 weeks in a row, the great Mark Hovsepian. So thanks to you guys again, like you said, congrats to Tommy Montoya, who gets the membership, but much love to Skeptical Fan in first place, and Dwayne Broussard with the Go Cowboys. Now, there's other ways to drop the love here, and also other people to shout out, because we got the memberships, of course. You got, you got the super chats, we saw that. You got the memberships, which, by the way, the star level member shout outs, guys. Always and every night for the star level, we shout you out, because you guys are part of this channel in a deep way. So much love to Skeptical Fan, Mary Alvarez, Dwayne Broussard, and Lincoln Kane, all the way from Australia. Much love to you guys, and anybody in the over everything level, which is a new level, we shout you guys out too there. But there's other ways to drop the love here. Of course, super chats, memberships, gifting memberships that you saw from Skeptical Fan, and also 4 other ways.
That's right. You do have the Cash App, money sign MyCowboysFamily, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link for all of our international friends and everyone, of course. But last but certainly not least, the Streamlabs link. Let your comment show up on screen just like a super chat.
And that Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, if anyone drops in there, that goes into the Cash App crown, kind of analytics, put it that way. So again, 4 ways to help outside of the super chats, memberships, and gifting memberships. Truly appreciate everybody. And again, just part of the show, part of the back and forth, part of the experience here at MC. If you never know what happens, but now I know what's going to happen now. We're going to get into the news, info, and updates. But first, the shout outs to everybody in the house right now, in the chat, ready to discuss a little bit of this, a little bit of that about our Dallas Cowboys. So, baby, who's in the house?
We have Stephen White, hello and hi. Scorpio, much love, representing. Thomas Garrett, the Superior. Garrett.
That's right.
Frame Rippers, a.k.a. Voodoo Alpha, saying we need more cowbell. Hey, don't let the little doggy hear you. If you were here the other day, you heard her going crazy.
That was crazy.
On live stream. So, and by the way, guys, yes, make sure to give him a follow on Instagram at Frame Rippers. Check him out for all your computer needs.
Hell yeah.
We have Lost in Translation podcast. Much love to you. Of course, Tommy Montoya, who got that lovely little gifted membership there from Skeptical Fan. Shout out to you, Skeptical.
Much love, Skeptical.
Dwayne Broussard, the top dog himself in the house. Jonathan Brown, hello and hi, who thinks, he said, I think our wide receiver room is straight. I think we're okay there. So,
well, we can touch on that.
Scorpio in the house. Much love to you. Mike Aldana saying pigeon killers with that beat. You know it. Every time we drop the beat, another feather gets plucked from an eagle.
I love that.
Bruce got the toxic juice. What's up? Much love. Let me see. House Nelson in the house.
Oh, yeah.
Sheehan and John Life. Much love. Thanks for coming through. Make sure I don't miss anybody back here. Landlord from Wakanda. Hello and hi. Freedom First. Thanks for coming through. Dallas Cowboy 92, representing much love. C Bass, hello and hi. So, and remember, I'm just quoting someone in the chat. I'm not necessarily saying that I think our receiver room is 100% good to go, ready to go. Although honestly, I do lean more towards that than it being incomplete.
Well, so I'm going to say this. We'll touch on that tonight. Again, more about the offensive kind of mindset, because is the receivers really going to be affected as far as the play calling? I don't think so. Not that much, although we do already see some switches over from Kellen Moore's style and scheme to McCarthy's scheme. We're going to dive deep in this tonight.
Montana, I got some 808, hello and
Montana
hi.
in the house. Appreciate Mr. Chocolate Montana. Respect to him. And, hey, listen, we're going to talk about this, again, in a realistic way. I'm not going to be sitting out, throwing out, guessing. I'm going to throwing out definite, I think a lot of definites. And maybe a little bit of guessing from you guy here, MC. I have some thoughts. We'll get into that. That's the bulk of the show. Tonight's really light on the news side of things, but we're going to discuss it all. We always do. When we go live, there's always something new around. So, you ready to start off, baby?
I'm ready if you're ready.
Yeah, hit that like, subscribe, that bell, put it on all videos. And now let's talk NFL. Quick NFL news and notes here. First and foremost, the Cleveland Browns. This is actually going to be a Cleveland Brown kind of intro, I guess. The Browns, they unveiled their new official logo that was voted on by the fans, a dog logo. I got to say, it's not bad looking. But I think you made a great point, baby. The Browns.
Yeah, when you first showed it to me, I got a little confused. I'm like, kind of looks like the Georgia Bulldogs.
It looks bulldogish. I mean, Georgia Bulldogish, but the dog pound, the Cleveland Browns. We know. So the winner is this picture, introducing their new official dog logo. You'll probably see it. They have that little elf-looking guy in the middle of the field. I don't know if they're going to change that to this. This one looks a little meaner and tougher, but nonetheless.
Honestly, they should have the bulldog tear the other mascots to pieces, but I guess that's probably not a good look.
Yeah, too much violence, I guess, for little kids watching. Who knows? But look, now on a realistic, this is a real situation here, a very serious situation. But Peyton Hillis, guys, you guys remember again, former Cleveland Brown. He was, almost died in a swimming accident, saving 2 kids, one of his own, one another family member of his. And again, almost a miracle, basically. He did not, and no one died in this swimming accident. There is an update today, I think. Maybe you have the information.
Yeah, it's actually the first time that he's spoken since
the accident.
Remember, this happened all the way back in January. He was in a coma for, quite a while there. And yeah, like you mentioned, he saved his son and his niece from a riptide current right here in Florida, unfortunately. He spoke with Michael Strahan on Good Morning America saying, quote, "It's 100% a miracle that someone didn't die." So, and like you said, he was a running back for the Browns back in 2010.
Yeah, he had one good year, and he was on a Madden cover, but again, I think that he went into more details about kind of what happened.
Yeah, so he said that the scariest point in the rescue happened because he had to, quote, "I'm swimming to my son, and I have to pass by him because my niece is in more danger."
Wow, man,
So I can't imagine having to be faced with having to make that type of decision. He kind of went on saying that he knew he had to pass him to get to his niece first because, quote, "If I didn't get there, there's no way she would have made it." Wow. So he did manage to get back onto the shore with his son and niece, but basically immediately lost consciousness the second he hit the shore. He experienced lung and kidney failure, was airlifted to a local hospital, placed on a ventilator. He thankfully was able to regain consciousness less than 2 weeks later and was in the ICU another 2 weeks after that. Man. So again, obviously very, very glad that he's here and okay, and obviously that the kids are okay, yes. But man, that could have had a very, very different ending there.
I mean, scary no matter how you look at this, or of course, right? A horrifying situation. He's 37 years old, obviously a young guy, still took a toll. And the thing is, leaving your son who's struggling and drowning to go save your niece who's also struggling and drowning worse, that's a crazy, crazy decision to make. And again, it's just a crazy situation to be in. He did what a hero does, I gotta say, and give it up to him for that. I mean, saved both of those children, one of his own, again, one of his niece, and then almost died. He, in a coma. Luckily, thankfully, he's out of it. He's looking obviously a lot better now, able to talk on an interview.
Yeah, definitely wish him and his family nothing but the best.
Like the Damar Hamlin situation, like this Peyton Hillis, we do touch on these serious little things big things that happen throughout, and unfortunately, a lot of times they don't end in a very good ending. But these two stories, more recent, I guess you could say, definitely on a more positive side.
Definitely glad that these all ended on
yes.
a happier note there, and also that he doesn't have any kind of lasting damage from that coma or anything either.
Yeah, so, that's huge on there. And what else is huge?
By the way, guys, again, salt water in large amounts mess you up. Aztec, much love. He just dropped a $5 Australian.
All the way from the Aussie lands. Yes.
A little sour laughter there from the happy little
him and I have a love-hate relationship.
I'm assuming a classic Go Cowboys as well, because hey, you can't come through here without dropping a classic Go Cowboys. Thank you, Aztec.
Yeah, we're gonna
appreciate you.
We're gonna say Go Cowboys for him, but yes, I know that he definitely appreciates you. Snug style, and Aztec. Definitely him and I butt heads at times, but hey, it's all good fun. We like to discuss interesting topics, and in the end, he knows where to find us here on MCF, My Cowboys Family, the wife, the family, and you guys in the chat. So thank you, Aztec, for the love here on this side of things, dropping that Australian 5 on it, and taking Mark to 78 points. Terrence Steele. We got to get our numbers together, guys, right? This is a practice. Every time I see a number, I'm like, which Cowboy player is that? And then it's a test. By the time you get to the regular season, we've done this this is 6 years we've done this. Trust us, it works when you get in the games.
It's the most fun during training camp, I'll admit, because usually it's craziest. Like, well, we have a 378s.
Exactly. Yeah, that's. I'm saying that's we do have a couple repeats at times in training camp, but then you know them so well. Yeah, there's a couple changes. Like eight players change their numbers. A week or two before the season starts.
It's usually gonna be interesting rookies. When we start hitting numbers like 21 and things like that. Because
that one's not changing. That's Stephon Gilmore, and that's not staying. That's staying this year.
I know.
As that 20, but the old 21 might be back. I'll discuss that in a little bit here. So much love, Aztec. Appreciate you as always, and everybody in the house. Hitting that like, subscribing, the bell, it is. Following us on My Cowboys Family on any social media. Let's keep it rolling here, because tonight is I could almost call tonight a Cowboys in 30, but it never goes 30 minutes here. So I just called it a Cowboys chat. What the hell? So, 3-time Pro Bowl defensive edge rusher, Danielle Hunter. All right, Vikings right now, a player, right? He is skipping the mandatory minicamp for the Vikings. Why? Well, the sides have not seen eye to eye on a new contract. Ian Rappaport reported that the Vikings have received trade calls, and now, one of the league's top pass rushers officially a holdout. Maybe to be traded. But again, I want to make a point about this. And yesterday we made a mistake, and I'll explain that in a minute. But Daniel Hunter, who is signed to the Vikings, like Connor Williams. We heard about him skipping out camp for the Dolphins. Any player who skips mandatory minicamp is subject to fines by the NFL, not by the team. $16,459 for the first day, $32,920 for the second day. The third day is going to cost you $49,374 if you missed that. All 3 days, total nearly $99,000. Yesterday I said $100,000. And we had talked about Saquon Barkley last night, saying that, I think you were saying it like, that forces, that could put a little pressure, but not really, because remember, he's not getting any fines. He hasn't signed that franchise tag, which means he's not signed by anybody yet, and he can skip any mandatory. It's not mandatory to him when he doesn't have a contract yet. So I think we made a mention of him losing $100,000. He ain't losing anything. The money's not an issue for Barkley right now.
That's a great point. So, but you also have to consider that for most players that are considering holding out, their contract is big enough. I can't imagine that $100,000 fine is really going to be, the make or break factor. It is there. It really just punishes the players who don't make as much money.
And that's the thing.
Like when
you look at a player like a rookie, right? A guy on a rookie deal, right? If a guy's on a rookie deal, he's making like $4 million. And again, that's $4 million. You got to pay $100,000. There's still, taxes and agent pay fees and all that stuff. It definitely cuts it down. But I'm just trying to say, it's $4 million and $40 million is two different things. One can afford it, the other one can't really afford. They can afford anything here, but do you want to lose $100,000 and you're making $2 million? It's that's kind of it takes a bigger chunk. 1/20th of your income is a pretty big chunk of your income, no matter how you slice it, no matter how rich you may be. But again, these guys that are rookies on the first year deals, they're the ones that get affected the most. Trying to hold out for a deal like Zeke did, right? But he did that before this whole situation was going on. Yeah. This was when the teams would fine them, and then that'd be used into the negotiations to retract those fines. They can't do that nowadays. The NFL is putting these fines out. So Barkley cannot be fined. He hasn't signed anything. But again, Daniel Hunter, Connor Williams, they're skipping mandatory minicamp. They're getting fined if they miss all 3 days, basically right a shade under $100,000. So that's the input there. Now let's keep going NFL. Now we're going kind of Cowboys, a little bit closer, just getting a little closer to Cowboy-centric news. Now, DeAndre Hopkins. Remember, yesterday he went to the Tennessee Titans facility, and he left today, this afternoon. He was there yesterday, left, again, probably landed. I don't know if you saw him yesterday, probably saw him today, and then left late this afternoon, spent hours with the players and the staff in Tennessee. The meeting went well, but there was no deal solidified, right? He left without a deal, and we know he's going to the Patriots, I think, tomorrow. So we know, and the word is he's expected to take more than just the Patriots next, more teams and visits that could, change the course of things. So, again, a DeAndre Hopkins who has been mentioned in circles that, we need him at the receiver spot. When we got Brandon Cooks, we didn't need DeAndre Hopkins anymore. That happened the day we signed Brandon, the day we traded for Brandon Cooks. So keep that in mind. Now, the Patriots, who are going to check out DeAndre Hopkins next, they actually waived former Jaguar, former New York Jet running back James Robinson. Now, I want to make a mention of him because, another running back now out there floating around that, a lot of people say they want a power running back. Can this guy fill that spot? So first and foremost, with the contract from the Patriots, James Robinson signed a 2-year, $4 million deal in free agency. And the contract was structured in a way that you can see that the Patriots had a lot of outs later in the contract, and that's the way it was written, because I think the reasoning is concerns from a health or injury standpoint. There's something maybe not 100% with him.
Yeah, they wanted to give themselves lots of options there, right?
Yeah, and it might be a coincidence, but the release it just came at a time when players right now are undergoing their physicals at mandatory minicamp. Connor Williams is skipping out.
So it kind of adds maybe a little bit of fuel to that fire.
Well, they maybe know something's going on. Let's cut them before we have to deal with any kind of a payout for the injury, right?
Again, obviously completely different scenarios, but it reminds me similar to the Garoppolo situation in the sense of, he failed his physical and now it's turned into a much bigger deal because he either is ready to go or he's not, and he loses all that money. He's basically going to be cut from the team. So, there's no in between there.
No, exactly. So we'll see how this thing goes for James. We know how it's go. He's now released, but if there's injury concerns, obviously any team that picks him up has to look at it that way. Again, but I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna throw it out there for the Cowboys from our perspective as fans and as a team. Another option is out there, running back. if the Cowboys want to try to get that a little more of either an upgrade at running back in some places, if you feel you don't have enough depth, I feel we have enough depth, or if you want to get like a more of a power guy, I don't think that James Washington is the guy to go with. I'd rather have Ronald Jones do it, Rojo. I'd rather go with him than a James Robinson, who seems to be a little banged up. At least that's maybe through the Patriots' eyes, but it doesn't hurt to give him a chance, to give him a try. That's an option there. Another option, baby, is Ezekiel Elliott. And why am I saying his name again? I don't want to put out there if it's just false hope, but we talked about this a couple days ago here on MCF, that Zeke was there at the Cowboys facility on June 1st. And when they asked him, kind of side, it wasn't even a real reporting, it was just kind of a side question. Someone had asked, hey, are you going to be back with the Cowboys? He goes, we will see. We'll see. This is the quote. So, according to Brian Boldinger, who is a guy that we do follow and trust a lot when it comes to his analysis, and he knows a lot of the players, he actually said that this signing prediction with the Cowboys, that he may be coming to Dallas, quote, I think it's a strong rumor. I really, really do. I believe there are legs to this rumor. And so, again, I think that he may know something more. I mean, I know he talks with the players. He probably got a good, long connection with Ezekiel Elliott from the past. I'm just saying, something to keep your eyes open for in case you hear Zeke, the rumors building up and bubbling. I mean, a lot of people are saying there's definitely some solid rumors that we may sign him. Now, again, how many times have I said this, guys? For how long have I said it right here in this channel? Over many, many live streams. I've said, I do not want Zeke back here for $7-8 million. I don't want him back here for $5 million. But if you get Zeke for a $2 million range in that veteran minimum kind of range, then that's a different story. I don't want him starting. And we know Jerry Jones won't have him starting because Pollard's making fifth. He's going to make the fifth highest running back pay in the league this year. Yeah, you can bet your ass Jerry Jones is going to get his money's worth out of Tony Pollard.
We're wearing that tire bald.
Just like we did with Zeke when he was the top paid guy. Now Zeke would become the second paid guy, the second option, the power. Now, if we got to rely on Zeke, we're in trouble. But if we need to rely on Zeke for short yardage, we're good. And that helps Pollard throughout a season. Forget his career. That helps his career too. But for this season, it keeps him from taking the hits and the short yardage stuff where Zeke can take those hits, for him. And, you give him $2 million with a little bit of incentive in case he has to take over more of a role, get a little bit of money. But I have no problem with that deal. I just have a problem with anything more than that.
Yeah, and trust me, on one hand, I think I am to the point where I wish we could just firmly close the door on Zeke. But we're not the ones who left that door cracked open, right? True. Jerry's the one that said, hey, Zeke, see you later, but then didn't close the door all the way. And he said it repeatedly throughout the offseason that they would be interested possibly in bringing Zeke back, if things work out the right way. And obviously, it's been a little bit since he mentioned it, but let's be honest.
No, not really.
It's not, I'm just saying, true, I guess he did mention it.
Remember, he met on July 1st. When they saw Zeke at the Star, I'm sorry, it's July 1st. On June 1st, July 1st is our party night here, guys. We're going to celebrate 6 years of MCF, so join us that night, one-time only stream.
So about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks
10 days ago or so, Ezekiel Elliott was walking around at the Star, and he was asked, hey, you going to come back? He goes, we'll see. That was it. After that weekend passed, that was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Jerry Jones was interviewed, and without prompt, he said, you never know, we might bring Zeke back. I'm just saying like that. Who knows why Zeke was there, but there was, it's in Jerry Jones's mind that Zeke is still there, and he would love to get him in here for a very team friendly deal. Obviously, it had to be, $2 million range with maybe a little incentive there, maybe $3 million total if he has to play more than a certain number of snaps. I don't know, but you don't go more than that, in my humble opinion, when it comes to Zeke, and that's the only way I'd like to see. I see some people in the chat. Like Macworld's minds there. Macworld's media, yeah.
Saying if we sign Zeke, we're one and done. We're going to be one and done in the playoffs.
As long as if we're using Zeke as our number one, I agree. But we're not. Zeke will not get paid more than Tony Pollard as long as Pollard stays healthy the whole year. Which again, knocking on wood, Zeke won't have to do that. He will not have to take over that role. But again, some people say they want Dalvin Cook in case something happens to Pollard. I guess that's a way of thinking about it. But we already know that Dalvin Cook's going to want, $8+ million a year? You think Jerry Jones is going to spend that much after we just saved $10 or $11 million on Zeke? I don't see that happening. When he could probably get Zeke for $3 million at most, on the cap at most, with incentives and everything included. So I'm not saying Zeke is nothing compared to Dalvin Cook right now, but Dalvin Cook would not be the starter here. He would have to be the backup because I don't think he'd get, it would be a wasted pickup by the Cowboys to pick up Pollard and his tag to pick up Dalvin Cook and pay him the same amount. We're already paying Pollard the 5th most running back money in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Like it or not, that's the way it goes. And again, you're hearing McCarthy and others talking about, Dalvin Cook's great. We like our core here of running backs. You don't hear them saying that about Zeke may be here. And that's been said by every player, every coach in the front office. Like Zeke, yeah, he could still be here. They're not saying that about other guys. So that's why you always got to keep that in mind. When the Joneses speak, they show their cards sometimes.
Mm-hmm. So Montana is saying real quick, if you got to rely on Pollard, you're in trouble. Judging Zeke off Karen Moore's scheme is ignorance. Cue ball throwing out there. I'm sorry. Zeke is worth the $5 million. I'd sign him for that after a 12 touchdown season. Yeah, he's worth it to me. Skeptical fan throwing out there. Close the door like they did with Dez. And like I said, the comments there and the way that they closed that door, they shut it. They put a deadbolt. They locked it. They put a chair in front of it. Like, that door was closed when we moved on from Dez. Nothing near close to the way things were kind of left very ambiguous between, front office and Zeke.
Yeah, and I think that is here's what I'm trying to say. I think people don't understand that we can't cry over spilled milk. Whether you think Zeke's the guy or not the guy, we're here now. And again, I got to reiterate this. Zeke is a fantastic running back, but I'm sorry to tell those that really are in love with him, for the short yardage gains, that's not necessarily worth $5 million. You can get that from another guy. The touchdowns he had 9 in a row with the Cowboys, tying Emmitt Smith and Zeke together, I think with the longest streak. The point I'm trying to say is that those are 1 yard, plunders. You can still get another running back to do that. Now, I'm not saying that is Zeke worth it to bring back for under $3 million. Or yes, to me for sure. But I think after that you're starting to go where you can get guys that can do the similar short yardage stuff, for that $3 million or $2 million or less. And what I'm trying to say, I think, and again, I do agree with Montana, because that's the thing, is you cannot cry over spilled milk. This front office, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, they're pushing Kellen frickin' Moore's frickin' scheme and using Zeke in a very predictable, he got run down. It's the worst thing that could have happened to Zeke is getting stuck in this scheme by the Dallas Cowboys. That hurt Zeke's career. He's not the Zeke he ever was before. If you guys think that, then you're wrong on that.
Yeah, Maxwell, it's worse. It's almost like getting, in certain ways, it's almost like getting fired from your job, going to like a temp agency, getting placed again at your job, but like at half the rate. So you're doing the same job you were doing before, but you're getting paid way less.
We've talked about a lot of guys.
Also, you got fired.
We've talked about guys out there. I can't even bring up the names right now because we really don't. But I just brought up James Robinson, as just an idea. But there's a lot of guys out there, not just Dalvin Cook. I named them the other day. There's like 3 other guys out there that have big names that are floating around there running back. Look, names or no names.
Kevin Bilbo said, "Let the deuce loose."
Well, Deuce ain't gonna do. That's the thing. We have nobody that can do what Zeke did. The closest guy that comes to that is Ronald Jones. Now, he's out there. We got him for cheap. Why? There's a reason why. He ain't Zeke. He ain't going to do that Zeke stuff. So, to me, I have no problem having Zeke and Rojo go fight it out for that short yardage, not starting, short yardage role. And I see some fantasy football analysts out there, because they say get Pollard. He's going to get everything. Cowboys going to run. We're going to talk about that tonight because I don't believe it's going to be necessarily run with McCarthy. I think people believe that. I think it's more run more efficiently, but not run more. And I think that here's my opinion about McCarthy. If he chooses to run a lot with only Tony Pollard, we're screwed. It's going to be a one and done. We're screwed this year because that's a losing formula for this offense. Now, if you get a guy in there like a Zeke for a couple $1 million, that could help you win the fucking Super Bowl. And I say that only, and I'm not saying Zeke, but I'm saying some people hate. I'm saying a guy who does what we need Zeke to do, or someone to do that, at that running back position, that power runner, that pass protector, which I think is a big focus of this offense this year. Another thing I'm going to touch in here in a minute, and that's why Zeke makes sense for the right price in Dallas. But again, there's nobody fighting for his services out there. No one. You can't just overpay because you like the name. That goes for any player off the team or Zeke. Who's been on this team, obviously, his whole career. So we got to think logically, not delusional. Can't be there loving a player over the star. That's just the way I believe. So to me, you got to get a guy who can do the Zeke stuff and you kind of got to go price comparable until you reach a point where either Zeke's the guy, or you got to go somewhere else, either a little cheaper than Zeke if that's the case. They're not going Dalvin Cook, is what I'm trying to say. So we got to think realistic. Zeke, and being used 30% of the time. That would help Tony Pollard be a fantastic piece for this offense, running, catching the ball. I'm just saying, think of Deebo Samuel when you think of Pollard in that sense. You can use a guy who can run and catch. That's what I like to see the Cowboys doing this. Texas Coast offense / West Coast offense. That's what I'd like to see them do with Pollard. And then you can use a big, a big back like an Ezekiel Elliott to pass protect, which is major in this offense. That's going to be one of the key changes. Pass protection is one of the things the Cowboys are trying to refine. Zeke is fantastic at that. And then, of course, short yardage. He can still catch the ball at the backfield. You got yourself a weapon back there to a much lesser degree than I would say the other starting weapons we would have in that field. So that's just my 2 cents on that. I mean, I'm ready to hear more from the family in the chat about this as we're going to move on for this. Again, this is all speculation, but I'm just saying the rumors are heating up, and they seem to be, as Brian Baldinger said. The Brian Baldinger said there are legs to this rumor, so we'll see. I do hope if we get him back, we get him for the right price, and I think that he will help the team with his 30% usage or so in a season. Anyways, any comments on this before we move it on?
Q Ball said, I must say, I would like to see what Rojo's got. So,
me too. But let's see him battle Zeke. I don't have a problem battle for the best guy wins it for that role.
Let me see. Antoine 804 Mike. So I'm saying Zeke got cut just like Jimmy Johnson. Is Zeke healthy? I haven't seen any training videos or him going to other teams or anything.
He's had I've seen him in a bunch of training videos. He's had a bunch of those videos. I don't know if it's as much as last year, but I've seen it around. I haven't really looked as much because Zeke's not a Cowboy right now. But just saying, he has put out the stuff. He's healthy. He's good to go. It's the same old situation. Just lost a step because he's been beaten to the ground by the Kellen Moore and Jerry Jones mindset of how to use an Ezekiel Elliott in the running game, and that's been a mistake the way the Cowboys use them, in my opinion, especially the last couple of years. So broke him down. Not on Zeke's fault. That's on the coaching again, the front office push. But again, there's a lot of options. There's still enough options out there for the Cowboys not have to go and overpay for a running back that they're going to use for, let's say, I'm just guesstimating here, but 30% of the time, assuming you can balance the health of Tony Pollard, by utilizing somebody who can take the hits a little bit sometimes in the short yardage stuff.
So, let me see here. So, hold on, Rodriguez said, Dak should take a pay cut to bring back Zeke. So,
well, that'll be on Dak. Dak wants to help his friend. That's fine.
Yeah.
But he ain't doing that, and nor should he. Would you take a pay cut so they can sign one of your friends to your companies? I'm just making a joke, but I'm just saying, think about that. Anyways.
I mean, I have to admit, if I was making Dak money, maybe. But I'm not making Dak money, so definitely not.
Dak money or not Dak money. The point is, jokes. Would you give up $10 million so they can sign Zeke?
Yeah,
of course not.
Yeah,
of course
not doing that either.
And I'm just saying that's what Zeke wanted. Zeke wants $10 million or $8 million or $6 million. Would you give up $6 million? Even if you're making $40 a year, the answer is no.
Yeah. So and again, guys, we haven't posted the video because, like you said, Zeke's technically not a Cowboy, but I think if you just go to his Instagram, they're all over there.
Yeah, he has them all on Instagram, or if they're off of that, they got him on his Twitter. I think he's got them retweeted there. But I mean,
but you basically, if you see Zeke on his social media, they're all right there.
And if
faking the funk.
if you've seen the previous year, we've seen the previous year videos from Zeke on a consistent basis, and this round looked exactly the same as the last 4 years worth of videos. So take that as you like. I mean, the videos don't prove if he's great or if he's lost a step. It's just, I think it's more the way you use him in your offense. And I think he would still he'd be better this year than last year in the McCarthy offense, in my opinion. He'd be a better all-around running back this year and last year if we used him not 80% of the time or 70% of the time until we broke him down. He missed a bunch of games last year. So all these things come into play. Balance, I said this last year, balancing them better would have helped both players better. Pollard and Zeke would be beneficial to both of them if they were balanced better. But who's fucking running the offense the last 4 years? Let's not talk about it. Kellen Moore.
So, okay, sorry, I didn't know if you were going to keep going there. Lost in translation, much love, saying, having Zeke off the team will force the offense to be more creative.
But I think when you look at the money, that's the difference. I think when you have the money and you don't have Kellen Moore there, you have Zeke there who's getting paid that money, and Kellen Moore doesn't know how to freaking adjust with balancing your running backs. I think that is the issue last year. This year, I think when what was the What did you say about the?
No, he said having Zeke off the team will force the offense to be more creative.
I think the Cowboys are already not going to... If we get Zeke back, it's not going to be a Zeke offense. It's going to be a Pollard offense. You guys feel me on this? Zeke is the power running back in the Pollard offense, in the Texas Coast offense, which is, Kellen Moore plays, but a little more, I think you could say, efficiency is what we're going to try to get out of this. And I'll explain some of my thoughts on, not thoughts, some of the facts that are coming out from this, kind of what we're going to see in this scheme on offense in this playbook from McCarthy.
So, let me kind of roll back here. Yeah, Skeptical said Dak can recoup that money with 2 Sleep Number commercials. So, let me see. Max Romita says Zeke like $1 to $3 million max.
Yeah, I mean, I think $3 million if he gets all the incentives. He tops out the incentives. That's probably $2 million base and then another $1 million of incentives. If he has to take a larger role, if he plays over 30% of the season, then you give him the third $1 million there. I don't know, something like that seems to be my range for Zeke. That's all.
So let me see. Yeah, Q Ball saying yes, it will be a TP offense. So.
I think what tells you that? Not just McCarthy or a West Coast style offense. You know what's going to tell you that? $10 million for Tony Pollard and Zeke with $3 million. That tells you it's a Tony Pollard offense. That's Jerry Jones speaking.
Yeah, so, obviously we don't talk too much about some of the behind-the-scenes politics that sometimes go into decisions on who starts or who doesn't or whatever. But let's be honest. When you're paying someone big bucks, you don't have to be a genius to put 2 and 2 together and figure that, front office probably wants that guy playing and having some significant play time, right? And no one drops money on a player to ride the bench. No. So, let me see.
Anything else before we...
Antoine saying, follow Zeke, there's no workout videos, just checked again.
Oh, wow, he took them off, or he must have taken them off. I've seen them out there, a couple of them floating around, but, maybe I'll throw them on there. You guys can check them out, maybe as a short.
Okay, if you want to give me a second, because I know we definitely have seen some.
I think on Twitter. I think they go off, and it's going through the guy he's training with. What is it, Hicks? I think Hicks is the guy he's training with, so it goes through them. I see Michael Donna asking about Raheem Mostert. Again, a guy that, is a hard runner. I'd love him to be, coming to the Cowboys here in some way. But again, I don't hear anything the Cowboys looking into Mostert in any single way. Now, he was in San Francisco, got injured. We seen him play against the Bills last year, Miami at Buffalo. What a game he had. So, he's definitely got some of that. Again, I don't need him. We don't need him to be a number 1. We need him to be a number 2, carrying not the load, but carrying the heavy load, the short yardage stuff, the stuff you're going to beat up on. It's just more about pass protection to me. Ezekiel Elliott is a proven pass protector for our offense, whoever was the coordinator. So Zeke to me is going to be fine as he'd be as good as Mostert for the amount of usage we're going to put towards him. But if again, it's up to Jerry Jones would love nothing more than to get Ezekiel Elliott back, and I'm pretty sure Zeke would be getting number 15 if he comes back this year. I don't think anybody else is that.
And the reason you can see it, it looks like it's his workout fitness trainer, Jay Hicks.
Can you copy it and put it in the chat?
Yeah, 300 Gurus. So I went ahead and posted the link to one of the videos. It was posted about a little under a month ago. So right at the end of May, beginning of June.
And I've seen a couple other ones.
2 weeks ago.
I've seen a couple other ones as well, so there's definitely more out there. So
yeah, like I said, that was just the latest and newest one that was released.
But after you check it out, come right back here to My Cowboys Family.
Yeah, it's like 20 seconds.
Yeah, I know.
Just a little Zeke action there. But basically just Zeke, posting some off-season workout videos, just showing off a little bit. And I have to admit, didn't really do much, did it? Because it's not like those videos made any kind of splash. It's not like anyone is out there talking, we got to check out Zeke. We haven't heard any movement, and I kind of expected something to start happening these last 2 weeks, and still nothing.
Well, we got ourselves a man staying skeptical with that $2 J. Lou holler. What did Skeptical say? He's in first place on the overall board.
He said $3 million and some Dallas endorsements.
Hey, listen, he don't have to move. That's got to save some money there. I'm just saying,
agreed.
There's a lot of things that not that he needs it because he already made his bank there, but he's it makes life easier to stay in Dallas.
Yeah,
he knows the players. He knows
in Dallas right now.
Yeah, he knows the players. He knows the surroundings. Why not? Why not try to stay in Dallas? For the right price there. So
agreed.
So much love, Skeptical. By the way, that takes Marco Seppi to 76 points on that board, and we got to move on to the next topic.
Yes,
so we'll be
I
here
did
forever.
have to read one quick comment here by Monroe Godet saying, "What's the status on that offensive guard Dalton Reisner? He used to be on Denver."
Oh, trust me, my guy. You say this on purpose because you know.
Yes, I did.
Monroe, that's the guy I've been championing that the Cowboys should pick up. I'm not. Listen, it almost sounds like he's going to be like the savior. He's not. But listen, he's an asshole type of offensive lineman. I don't mind that. He's a left guard that started with the Broncos pretty much the whole career, and again, not very good in the run blocking. So that power run is an issue for him, but the pass protection is where he's much better at. So. To me, as a backup to anything that happens, whether it's Tyron Smith, Terrence Steele, you got to move Tyler Smith around. You got Dalton Reisner there as that guard, but for whatever the reason, maybe he's asking for too much. Maybe the Cowboys are too cheap. We got $20-something million sitting there. To me, it's a smart move to go pick up someone like him, who's a solid offensive lineman, veteran, will do enough to secure any kind of issues, injuries on our starting five. And it's a major pickup. That's my biggest player right now, and him and a kicker to pick up right now as far as what's realistic for the Cowboys. That would seem to make things more complete as we go into training camp. And I do believe we will fill up the last 2 spots on our roster with a kicker and one other player before we hit training camp. So we shall see. Great point there. And thank you for bringing that up and riling me up, baby.
I couldn't let it go when I saw we were going to mention it. So back to you, baby.
So now, listen, I did want to kind of go on a little fun here, real quick little turn before we get to what are our Cowboys doing now? The rookies, we know they're still at the Cowboy facility, but what are the other Cowboys doing? I got 2 guys working hard here on their vacation time. But before I get there, maybe Simi Fehoko on his vacation time, officially, of course, a proud father, new dad. But he had an interesting video come out there, and I still kind of not sure about it. But he basically he made a little skit there on Twitter, posted it, and he's now the proud owner of the Air Monarchs. After becoming a father, I'm assuming that is repping them with pride. I guess it's an old, daddy,
I'm
daddy
it's
sneakers.
Some kind of, when I saw it, I'm assuming that it's either a play on the whole, like, I just gave birth, but, like, here's my brand new baby, but instead he's, like, showing off the shoes, you know what I mean? Like he's giving birth to this pair of shoes or some crap like that or something. Or he's obviously making a play on the fact that, now he's a dad, so he needs some, like, dad shoes. Because when I saw them, I'm assuming that was the joke just based off.
Listen, they were Dallas Cowboy colors. Gotta love that.
That he was kind of making a joke, like, it's time to break out the dad shoes now that I'm a dad.
Well, we're gonna need your guys' help to figure it out. Again, I'm too old, I guess. I'm too old. I'm too old, so I know I'm out the loop. Maybe you're younger, but maybe, you went over your head. You're getting old, too, now. But the point is, let us know what you think on that.
I'm an older now.
I know some people are actually coming back with some of the Zeke thoughts about the video they just saw. What are some of those?
Antonio Force said, I looked at the video and, still looked slow after the handoff. Vet minimum for me.
So you talk about $1.5 million. I'm even giving him $2 to $3 million total incentives. You got to give him a little bit in case he has to take over a starting role. But then, we're probably screwed. I'm just saying, if we got to have Zeke as our number 1 running back, we are probably in trouble this season. So, yeah, I would say Malik Davis would be the number 1, and Zeke would still stay as a number 2.
So Rolando Rodriguez saying, what about the special teams? MCW wants a kicker. Any news there? So
just USFL is where I think the Cowboys are going to turn. Right now, they're still. The word is that they are looking USFL, but we named 5 guys. You guys even commented a 6th. There's a lot of guys to choose from for the Cowboys.
It bothers me that the Cowboys are still being so willy-nilly with, what I consider to be one of the bigger weaknesses on this team right now. Especially considering that at least we technically have some kind of depth at O-line, right? But Vizcaino is barely he's barely a kicker, let's be honest. He qualifies, and I'm not saying he can't do something there, but he's not the guy. We all know he's not the guy, and yet the Cowboys are not even looking for the guy.
He's basically, the placeholder right now, but he had a good mini camp, means nothing to me.
Yep.
How is he going to do in that playoff game? We know Maher had a great year, but then shit the bed again. Memories of the Maher missing. So just Vizcaino's not the guy, but they're going to bring in a bunch of USFL guys. He might be the guy then, Vizcaino. Who knows?
So, and Reisner's definitely still young enough to make it worth trying to grab
27 years old. Come on, let's go.
So, especially considering all the other kind of backup offensive linemen we've gotten, all feel like they've been 40 plus, and I'm exaggerating there, but you get my point.
Connor McGovern went to the Bills as a starter, and he's getting $8 million. Well, it's just not working. There it goes. He's getting $8 million there as a starter for the Buffalo Bills. $8 million a year for 3 years. I mean, Reisner should be $4 million a year. A 2-year deal at most. Maybe you give him a 1-year deal. That's what I would do. A 1-year deal, $5 million at most for Reisner to be basically a pseudo starter / backup. But the Cowboys want to roll with Farniok, and they want to roll with Asim Richards, a rookie. They want to roll with TJ Bass, an undrafted. I mean, that's a lot to roll with as the guy behind Tyler Smith. That's my issue. Oh, yeah. So that's a big issue. So again, let's go Chume Doga do that. I don't know if they can do it any better than any other guys I just mentioned, but it's just not a good spot when you look at our weakness on the offensive line. Anyway, speaking of that, our offensive linemen, and defensive trenches, and Micah Parsons and Tyler Smith, they were working today, working hard. I'll explain in a minute because Von Miller had his 7th annual pass rushing summit. And Tyler Smith was front and center with Von Miller there. Von Miller was talking about his get-off, helping his long arm, and how he beats the offensive lineman once he feels kind of what's given to him on each play. And he also talks about the leverage when he's turning the corner. He did this against Tyler Smith in slow motion. Just again, kind of using him, I don't want to say as a prop, but you got to remember, guys, Tyler Smith is part of the learning crew here. This is major. Tyler Smith is learning from the best. Yes, it's a pass rushing summit, but guess who's learning? Offensive linemen are learning here in a special way, and Tyler Smith is heavily involved with Von Miller, learning how to defend pass rushers. He's, again, Von Miller is showing how to beat guys, but Tyler Smith's learning from the best here of the best tricks of the trade from the opponents, from the enemy. So this is perfect. Tyler Smith, not just a prop, he is learning as an offensive lineman. This is for defensive linemen. He's learning as an offensive lineman. Now, I just want to reiterate, right now in camp, there are the rookies. All the rookies are still there in camp, and they're doing like life skills exercises, life skills meetings with the Cowboy coaches and staff. But there's no veterans. The veterans are on vacation since Friday, right? They've been on vacation, and this is going to continue for them until July 24th when they check it, or the 23rd, and they check it in AT&T or at the Star, and then they go to Oxnard on the 24th of July when training camp begins. So that's it. We're not going to hear nothing more about these guys, but I loved it. They're going to be on. You're going to see Dak on his yacht. You're going to see Micah doing his thing and Tyler Smith doing his thing and CeeDee Lamb on a beach somewhere. I'm just saying you're going to see a lot of people doing a lot of different things, and you're also going to see guys working out together. We actually heard that Brandon Cooks is going to be spending a lot of time, I think a whole week with Dak, maybe in the Dak yard, right? Where they're going to be throwing and connecting during the break for like a week period, right? So that's coming probably closer to training camp when they meet up. But right now, like I said, Tyler Smith is at this pass rushing summit learning from the best pass rushers. I love that. Now, on top of this long break now, we're going to see in the next 5 weeks, no real Cowboy work, on the field coaching or anything like that, or players or practicing. But you're going to see them working out and doing other things. And that's why now you also see on the other side of this, baby, not just Tyler Smith, you got Micah Parsons, and he's over there with Von Miller, again, talking to him, learning from Von Miller, and Von Miller learning from him. It was interesting to see a little back and forth with them, baby, because Micah Parsons basically was there to develop himself, to develop even more, to get himself as a better pass rusher. That's coming from the best pass rusher right now, basically, or one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. And Micah Parsons, guys, again, interesting to see him there, Tyler Smith there. Again, by the way, I want to say Tyler Smith and Von Miller have the same agent. So that maybe is a reason why Tyler Smith got included into this mix here. A great tool for Tyler Smith to gain more experience from here. I think their agent is Joby Branian. But Von Miller and Micah Parsons, that was the biggest interesting thing to me to see the way they were exchanging ideas of how they pass rush. Von Miller and Micah were talking about philosophy and the execution of the way they use their spin move. This was happening at Von Miller's pass rush summit. And again, you got all these other guys standing around absorbing this discussion. This is like Einstein and Bill Gates talking, and they're coming up with these great ideas. And everyone's just listening and standing around it. So again, Micah Parsons had a lot to share. And again, it was interesting. Micah talks about how he kind of does his rip move and spin move after that. And Von Miller said, you got to always remember, and he goes, he tries to do it all the time, but sometimes you just can't do it. But you always try to communicate to the other defensive linemen that you're going to spin move, because if you don't, you got other quarterbacks. I think you mentioned Deshaun Watson, that just takes a couple steps out of the pocket, breaks the pocket, and now you lose contain. So you have to be communicative with your interior linemen to make sure they know you're going to spin inside. They got to make sure that someone covers that outside. And, I don't know, I'm sure Micah does that, but I'm just saying that Micah, sometimes it's not about just getting the feel and doing it kind of freestyling out there. It's about also all the other players knowing that you're on the same page. Something simple, but yeah, you never know. If that sticks in Micah's head a little bit, the season, maybe that helps in a little way here and there. So it's great to see Tyler Smith on offense, Micah Parsons on defense, doing and growing and learning. No matter how good they may be or how many Pro Bowls Micah has or how many Tyler Smith's going to have, they're out there who want to get better. They want to up their game. They're not out there on vacation right now. They're out there learning from the best. Mm-hmm. So I love it.
So, and hey, Q Ball, I had made a joke, I think it was just last night, saying, hey, if the Cowboys really wanted an international player, go find yourself someone from a soccer team and call it a day. So I almost feel like I would almost trust that more than some random XFL guy
USFL.
In a weird way. But hey, at this point, I just need something done. Right, Mac, I don't know if I'd say Sam Williams is better than D-Law because Sam Williams has been around for exactly 1 year and he had not enough snaps to come close to compare. Also, they do slightly different things, obviously. So
I think in a year or so, and then next year, I think Sam Williams takes over. I think DeMarcus Lawrence becomes a first down edge setter and an interior pass rusher.
Mm-hmm. So. Let me see. Lost in Transition saying Reisner was in the same draft class.
Yep, they both
as Pollard.
4 years in the league. I mean, they're both in the same draft, right? So they're entering their last year here. I think Reisner was. You sure he was? Oh yeah, he was because his Cowboys extended basically a 1 year extension for Pollard and a tag, while Reisner was let go. So, by the way, this pass rushing summit. One last thing it was funny to me. Cam Jordan did not hold back at this Von Miller pass rushing summit when he was talking to these guys. He said, You don't want to kind of be hesitant and make the right move and be slow on a right move. He said you want to be fast. He'd rather be fast and make a mistake because that can still turn into something big. The reason he said slow right decisions, he said we love them for the quarterback. And he said he called it a Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins meaning Kirk Cousins, he does do the slow right decisions, but usually it leads to mistakes more than it does to good things, and that's why defensive players like the Kirk Cousins, as he kind of jabbed at Kirk Cousins. But again, it is a good point in a way. You just can't be chaotic out there, but you got to also, if you go too slow to make the right decision, it could hurt you. If you're going fast, you can create something. You have to
find a way to balance out the speed with the accuracy and allowing the play to develop, actually getting the right play called, all those things. So
100%. Now we're going to get to the juice of this whole discussion, baby. And I guess we'll start with McCarthy here because he got some criticism, all right, by a former NFL quarterback who actually, it was funny because he actually visited the Cowboys team and was talking with Dak Prescott, Tim Hasselbeck. So Cowboys offense, according to him, is probably going to take a step backwards under McCarthy. Now that's interesting. I choose to doubt that, not because I want McCarthy to succeed, but listen to what happened, guys. So now that McCarthy's the offensive play caller, there's some criticism, of course, going out there and doubts as if we're going to have a better offense now with him rather than Kellen Moore. So former NFL quarterback Tim Hasselbeck is a detractor of McCarthy. He called with him calling the plays next year, not a fan of it. He doesn't see it ending very good, in Dallas. So what Hasselbeck said on NFL Live was this, quote, I think the team is going to take a step backward. I don't understand this talk about how this offense was somehow a disaster under Kellen Moore. For years, he was the offensive coordinator there. There's one team that scored more points in the NFL, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. You can run the ball all you want. That's great. But the object is to score points. And I think there will be some changes on offense. And I think there will be some growing pains with it. I don't know if it's a good thing for the Dallas Cowboys. Fair enough. You can have criticisms. And I understand that. But first thing I'm going to say in this, I don't think anybody said that Moore's offense in general was a disaster. I don't think anybody said that. Now, maybe the firing comes from, I think, an inability to adjust and other predictable tendencies that he has. I think these are the reasons. It was not a disaster. We know that we were able to, especially against bad or average defenses, we definitely were able to take advantage of them. But, when we know last year, week 6 and 7, we still didn't have some plays mastered yet. and players are having trouble absorbing the offense, that's on the coaching there. Those are the bigger issues, I think, foundational issues that maybe are not easily seen when you have a high-flying offense, for 3/4 of the year. So, again, Kellen Moore is good to put up points, but like McCarthy said, it's not only about putting up points. Situational play calling is the big difference to me, the improvement from Kellen Moore to Mike McCarthy without a question. Whatever is going to happen, the changes, I don't know, but the situational play calling has got to be better. The adjustments have to be better than what we saw with Kellen Moore. So just doing that combination, and the fact that it is also a Mike McCarthy system, 35% change, that West Coast offense flavor of McCarthy, those two things in itself must, without a question to me, already help the offense in the play calling side of things. So, we've heard, as far as potential changes or differences, which I want to go into, between McCarthy and Kellen Moore, we've heard from Dak Prescott. We've heard from Mike McCarthy on why, each play, they're trying to understand the why of each play and understand it before we get to the regular season. Like, understand it in training camp and master it through training camp on each play and doing things just a little bit differently. So I disagree with Hasselbeck. I don't know, some people may agree that they don't like McCarthy taking over. I think that it already is an improvement. And the fact that it is McCarthy's offense, it's his offense, this is a big difference here. So again, I think McCarthy's trying to, I don't think he's trying to recover from a disastrous Kellen Moore coaching. I think he had a lot of downfalls foundationally. But McCarthy was there the whole time. He knows his players, 3 years there, now his 4th. So he definitely has the pulse of the team. So will we score less points this year? Maybe. But we may score less points, maybe 3 points less a game, but we're going to be more consistent the whole year at attacking and and be able to control a game.
Yeah, and for me personally, I am willing to trade off a little bit of possible, I guess, maybe explosiveness, you could say, for a little bit more consistency. Because that is the one thing that has been missing a little bit from our offense. I think more so than explosive plays. Because, again, if you're consistent, those plays will happen. They will come to you.
That's true.
So, but
we've seen it with Brandon Cooks.
Consistently moving the chains or consistently allowing your offense to work its way down the field, that's how you get field goals. That's how you get touchdowns. That's how you get more guys involved on offense. So, it does lots of great things for you. So, just throwing that out there.
Another great point, baby. I mean, consistency is, to me, a huge difference maker. For any offense, you need that. If you're consistent, you get in a rhythm. This stuff makes a difference. Of course, for defense as well, but especially for offense. And I don't know if Dak's ever been in this offense that had rhythm. Whether you could say some of it is his fault, maybe, but definitely some of it's Lenahan's fault and Kellen Moore's fault, without question. So I think that we have to look at the consistency factor as being one of the big things we want to see better, like on defense as well. Snug X with the big 1-0 drop, the $10 holler. Our Cash App King takes the lead.
Thank you, Snug.
On the
Much
overall
love,
board.
And he said, "You rock, MCW." Thank you, Snug. Appreciate you, of course.
Yes.
And guys, make sure you give a little shout out there to the Cash App King in the chat.
The king
of
the Cash App.
So, Cactus G throwing out there, by the way, it all depends on the learning curve of the new offense.
The learning curve of the new offense. That's the thing. I think Jalen Tolbert
as a collective.
Yeah. Jalen Tolbert is a great example. Last year, he couldn't get a hang of it. Mm-hmm. Some of these veterans couldn't get a hang of some of the plays till the middle of the season from Kellen Moore. Yet, this year, all eyes, every single person sees a huge difference between these guys.
Camp, and we're already hearing and seeing a difference, from even veterans and beyond. So it's great to see it.
That to me is, one of the biggest pluses from this. From this offseason, this change into into McCarthy's play calling. So, just to kind of wrap it up here on the, let me put it there. Just to wrap it up on the By the way, I do want to give a big shout out to Snug, first place on the overall board with that jump. Again, today's night one, and Mark goes down to 66 points on the stream, boss. Appreciate you, Mr. Snug X. Now, so let me just get myself on focus here because we got one big quote here from McCarthy that kind of tells us kind of an interesting insight into what the changes are going to be looking like. Some of the changes, right? I'm going to name a couple of them, but that actually adds to one of them as well. So just saying this, I think that we all have to recognize, or at least should recognize, that we may score fewer points, but in an effort to oversee play calling in a way that allows the offense and defense to complement one another, and the Cowboys can win more games. That's the ultimate, goal, is to win more games. McCarthy is going to be the better play caller. It's his playbook, his scheme, his system, his installation, and he's calling the plays. So I think I trust in him making the proper adjustments than not, right? We got the man Mark Hosepian in the house dropping that $1-2 holler. And with that $2 drop, who, by the way, you know who he is, baby, the sponsor of the week and
That's
currently
right.
68 points on that stream, boss.
Mahalo to you, Mark.
What did the man say?
I think Tolbert is hype. Fehoko is ahead of him.
Simi?
Ooh, that I have to hard disagree there. I have said it since the moment we brought in Simi Fehoko. Where is the hype? I'm just saying, I have not seen it. I have not heard of it. Everyone keeps talking about it, and yet up until this possible offseason is maybe the first possible tiny little baby inklings of something that Fehoko could produce. Just saying.
I disagree because I think last year a lot of people were high on the Fehoko train. Last year, Fehoko was the hyper. He was the one that was hyped up, right?
I know, but Mark is saying that he thinks that the Tolbert is just hype, and that Fehoko is actually the better one of those two. Again, like I said, I disagree, and I think that Fehoko is behind Tolbert.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. I also agree with you because I do think. Sorry, Mark, we disagree here. Fehoko is a guy who's been hyped for 2 years, 6th round pick, and I just don't see him when the lights come on in the stadium. He disappears. Practice, he's great. Training camp, he's great. Game day, will we see a difference? I want to see it. If we don't, he's going to be the 6th or practice squad guy, as he's going to be every single time. He can play special teams. That's great. Tolbert might not have the special teams as well, but I think Tolbert's the better athlete, the better player. We'll have to wait and see. And again, Tolbert last year in a bad situation with Kellen Moore. This year, it's like night and day according to the coaches, not Jerry Jones. I think and to the reporters out there watching this, they see a different kind of player out there with Tolbert. So I think that's going to help. I think the change in play caller helps Simi Fehoko, and also hugely is going to help Jalen Tolbert. I think he also caught a couple touchdowns in these little camps and stuff, the mini camp. He's showing more activity on that field. I would say keep the book open on both these guys. Don't judge them now. Let's see how it works out. Now, back to much love to Mark, kicking it off here as our sponsor of the week here. 5th place on the board right now. But let's get to the changes. So the changes in Mike McCarthy's offense. What do I think? McCarthy's broken. Here's what he said himself, baby. McCarthy's broken the offensive adjustments down into 3 groups: the education stage, the application stage, and the evaluation stage. Now, the education stage, that was the beginning of the phase 1 and all that stuff. The Cowboys right now are currently in the application stage, and the evaluation stage, what we know as training camp preseason games. One of the notable changes, who we know that's the way he's taken this. So that's one of the, not changes, but one of the insights we have of McCarthy, how he's taken the offensive play calling. Now, a noticeable change is McCarthy is now wearing reading glasses as he looks over his play sheet before giving the call to Dak Prescott. You know what I'm saying? And again, if you look literally at our thumbnail, I mean, that's from just this minicamp, mandatory minicamp. Mm-hmm. McCarthy got the glasses on, looking at the play sheet, giving a thumbs up to Dak Prescott. I'm just saying that's a couple days old, that picture. What I'm saying here is that McCarthy wearing reading glasses, looking over the play sheet. He's in command of the offense. Now Dak has a hold of the offense. We talked about it the other day. He owns the offense, but Mike McCarthy is calling the plays 100% here, obviously. And one of the other obvious changes we know is coming, Jerry Jones said it, and I'll say what it is in a minute, because first we got Mark Hosepian with that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on it.
Ooh.
The $5 holler.
Once again, mahalo to you, Mark.
What did the man say?
You. And he said, what I mean is, Fehoko is not that good at all.
So he's saying both of them are not good.
And he's above Tolbert on the depth chart. How we play better teams on offense, that will be McCarthy's test. So,
that's true.
And I get what you're trying to say there. I feel like I kind of have to agree with Seabass's comment from earlier, saying Tolbert and Fehoko both seem like bumps to me. You know, the Fehoko might be a little over Tolbert. Tolbert might be a little over Fehoko, but it does kind of bring up the point that neither one of these guys is necessarily all that great. So
I still have to give it to Tolbert a little bit more because, and only simply because Tolbert to me seems like the guy who 3rd-round pick. Fehoko, 6th-round pick. Fehoko has had an extra year. And if they're both in the same spot, that means Jalen Tolbert's winning. So because he's already ahead of them that way.
Looking for more of a trial by fire situation where obviously we have to maybe prove ourselves a little bit more. Again, the season is just about to kick off, and there's no better time or place to do it. Although, if you want to get even more specific, training camp is probably the place to see which one of these guys ends up rising to the top.
That was our discussion last night, literally. What we're going to see in the preseason games, the decision of who's the 4 and who's the 5 between Simi Fehoko and Jalen Tolbert.
The final little cherry on top before I read Skeptical Fan's comment. The good thing is we face a lot of very good teams this year, offensively and defensively both. So we'll be able to test our entire team with some high caliber football, right? Skeptical Fan, much love, by the way. Skeptical with that $2 holler said, do you think McCarthy is rewatching all the NFL games now?
Oh, yeah. Now he's definitely checking them
he's got
screen by
3 jobs. He has no time for that.
Remember what happened when he lied about it, right? He watched every game.
I mean, he got the job.
He got the job. Now he's got to keep that job.
Lying
he's hanging on to
in
it.
Interviews and on your resume, it works, kids. McCarthy is the proof.
He did get that job with the big, again, and then he admitted he didn't really watch everything, right?
Marco Seppian, much love. With another $2 holler.
1-2 on it. By the way, both these guys are tied right now. And I think they're tied in the top spot, in the second place spot, right behind by 1. I think they're back on Snug X. So what did Mr. Marco Seppian have to say?
He said, we are comparing dry crap to wet crap. It's still crap.
Listen, I'm going to give Jalen Tolbert a year to develop here, a real true year. I'll give Simi another year to see what he's got. But in the end, Simi's got to show me more than Jalen Tolbert in a way, since I expect more from him now in the sense of like, hey, he's been in the league for 2 years. Now, Tolbert got injured early on last year. Too much for him to handle because Kellen Moore's offense. All right, I'll give him a redshirt year. That's it. I got to see some of him, some of the production from him this year, something. So, Simi has higher things to kind of goals to set. Oh, Frame Rip. Oh, that was interesting. Frame Ripper's back in the membership.
Much love, Skeptical Fan.
By Skeptical Fan.
Just gifted a membership. And yes, the awesome Frame Rippers, a.k.a. Voodoo Alpha, was the lucky winner there. So, guys, drop them if you got them.
You know what that means, right? Skeptical Fan now in first place.
Oh, that's right.
All by himself, and
much love, Skeptical.
The most gifted memberships in the history of MyCowboysFamily. It's only been 2 weeks.
He's definitely setting all his own records.
I mean, this is only our second month, but he set the record there. Much love to the man staying skeptical. Skeptical Fan.
Thank you again, Skeptical. Much love.
I'm upping the numbers too for him here. So yeah, he's got 25 memberships gifted here. Woo! Much love. Now,
no, sorry, I thought you were going to say a little bit more there. So I don't really think they're holding Tolbert back for Simi. Like I said, lost in translation. I genuinely think the Cowboys are just trying to see which one of these two guys ends up rising to the top.
Yeah, I think, and I still think that the front office is going to want Tolbert to be the guy, but Simi is a bonus if he does show up, and so you have to watch. I just say let's see it play out, because one of them's gonna have to emerge as the number 4, and one of them better show me more than just dried shit or wet shit. You know what I mean? So Mark, and I just thinking of Mark because that was a great comment he made with that 5 on it, and of course tiebreakers go to Skeptical Fan because he's got the gifting lead right now. So what did Mark say with that 5 on it? And of course, you see that overall board. He's pounding, to Terrence Steele right now, run blocking, duo blocking right there with Zach Martin. Marco Seppian, what did he have to say?
I remember Mr. MCF kind of agreeing with me. We scored huge points on poor teams with the occasional good game versus a good team. How will we do now with coaching? Well,
and that's what I'm going to discuss this right now with you, because I do believe this next part is one of the biggest changes in the offense, Mark. I mean, Jerry Jones said this, that Dak Prescott's going to get the ball out quicker in the passing game. He's going to have fewer reads, Dak Prescott. So if the 2 reads are not there, what's going to happen? He's going to look to get into the scramble drill quicker. I'll go into this a little bit more, because this, to me, is truly the biggest kind of fundamentals change in the way he's running the offense. Not Dak, not Pollard, not the receivers, but Mike McCarthy, the way he's running this thing. Woo, Skeptical drops another one in Burn Bar.
Woo!
Back in the mix, in the membership side of things.
Thank you, Skeptical Fan.
Another one. right? Like DJ Khaled. We got DJ Skeptical Fan
cracking me up here because
taking that lead.
Mark Hopesepian's $2 holler before that was damn skeptical. Where is my membership, damn it?
I know. I was keep missing it.
Skeptical Fan went through, dropped another gifted membership, and Burn Bar was the lucky winner there.
Burn got it.
Sorry about that, Mark. Much love to you. Mahalo. Again, you can always join up on your own if you want to, but it is always fun to see if you're kind of
Did
the
he
lucky
set it right, though?
winner.
It's missing him a lot. Did he set it?
That's
he has
right.
To set it.
So, Mark, just try double checking this, Mark, because there could be a reason more on the YouTube side of things for some reason.
What's your settings? Yeah, it's on your settings thing in the chat, right? Yes, go ahead. It's very confusing. I'll shut up. I'll update the board. Go ahead.
So if you close out the live chat real quick, you can kind of see there where it says like live chat, share, blah, blah, blah. So there should be a little section there that says gifts, right? You have to click on that, and you actually have to put accept gifts and gifted memberships or something like that. So
if you accept it, it'll be for this channel. Every channel you go on, you have to accept gifts for those channels if you want to accept them.
But that would at least allow you to receive the gifted membership here on the MCF side of things.
It's tricky. They make every channel has to explain this to their members if they want to be in it. And again, if Mark's in it, he can drop the 5 and be giving memberships at the same time once you're in the membership. That's a really double the love here, right? So, I hope he jumps in it, and it, be the way of helping the channel and helping the fan base here in, helping the family in the chat. So whichever way, we appreciate you no matter how you drop it, how you support the channel, guys. Truly appreciate you guys. And Skeptical Fan still in first place on the overall board. Now, I will say it doesn't help the stream boss, right? When you do the membership stuff, the gifting, but everything, Sure. But anyways, so back to what I was saying, baby. Jerry Jones, and he's the one I talked about it, but so did McCarthy and Dak, just saying that Dak's going to get the ball out quicker, less reads for Dak Prescott. I think these are the things that, again, are going to help the skill set that Dak has. Dak has that skill set. It's going to help Dak look better when McCarthy's calling plays. For instance, he gets 1 read, 2 read. They're not there. What happens? The whole offense knows what happens. The whole offense knows Dak. If you don't have that ball out in 2.5 seconds, he's scrambling. And that means everyone has their spots to go on the field, whether you're offensive linemen, tight ends, running backs, or receivers. Dak as well. He scrambles out, finds a spot, finds the open guy. That's the way this offense is going to run. Quicker, scrambling moments, not sit in the pocket for so long, waiting for the routes to develop, which was one of the big issues when you have a subpar pass blocking offensive line in Kellen Moore's offense. That's not, those two things don't mix. So that, to me, those are the biggest things, I think. I'm going to go into some statistics in a minute, but first, McCarthy said something that was interesting. I think this is more on the fun side of the changes, right? It's the wording, or maybe you could say it's the accent, or how people say words, but...
Yeah, and I'm going to apologize beforehand, because I know I'm already going to mess this one up.
The thing is, McCarthy used pass play in their offense called Duquesne. Is that right? I'm saying that right?
I think so.
Duquesne. And I'll explain in a minute here, but... Again, McCarthy, a Pittsburgh native, he has a play named after the private university in his hometown, Duquesne. McCarthy joked about those people that say Duquesne, because that's the way, actually, phonetically, that's the way it looks. So the teams there in Duquesne, the athletic teams are known as the Duquesne Dukes. So that's going to become very relevant in a minute. But first, Mark Hopesepian going up to 85 points with that 5 on it. And he'll give you a breakdown of what he thinks here on our Cowboys with that $5 holler. What did Mark Hopesepian have to say?
Much love, Mark. He said, Quinn is a perfect example of how coaching and scheme make players look good. Other than our stars, Golston and others aren't that great, but they make plays. And again, that does show, Dan Quinn's hard work there. Because
he gets the most out of their guys, out of our guys that maybe aren't supposed to be that good or not that good. He gets more out of them usually. You can't hit them all out the park, but he gets a lot out of our guys. Very good point from Mark. And that's what I want to see from Mike McCarthy. I believe we'll see at least this. Can you guys give me this? I think we'll see more of that from Mike McCarthy than we've seen from Linehan, than we've seen from Kellen Moore. That's my true view on this. So anyways, much love to Mark. 85 points on the stream, boss. What did McCarthy say? This was on the press conference he had last week, a couple days ago, but I think we missed this. It kind of felt, it's just an interesting little insight on how the Dak and the Mike McCarthy conversation is going there, behind the scenes. What did McCarthy say?
Yeah, so McCarthy said, Dak asked a question in front of everyone. He said, well, Coach, how do you want to call it? I said, it's your huddle. How do you want to call it? He said, Duquesne. And then I said, then it's Duquesne. And then Dak said, if I say Duquesne and Dukes, you know what I'm talking about. Just call it Duquesne. Duquesne. I've just always done it that way. They're the ones in the huddle, and what you learn over time is each quarterback's a little different.
So basically saying it's going to be the Duquesne play, even though it's Duquesne.
Yeah, look, let's say they called it the ketchup play, then Dak would be calling it the catsup play. So
they know what they're talking about, right?
Yeah,
the same page.
He just has a particular way of pronouncing it, and you got to roll with it, not against it, right? So
what did the man Mark have to say?
I'll holler to you with that $2 holler, saying, hopefully McCarthy can do this to our offense. If he doesn't, we'll be the first ones giving him the boot. I can tell you that, because there's too much riding on McCarthy's now complete and total dominance of this offense. Like that's it. This is McCarthy's offense through and through now.
Yeah, he's got full ownership. Hiding. I mean, his job is hanging on it. His job's hanging by a thread on this offense that is McCarthy made, tailored. Now, McCarthy also spoke a little bit more. I'll let you continue, baby.
Mm-hmm. So, and again,
the Duquesne or Duquesne.
Yeah, but McCarthy added in there, we want these guys speaking up in meetings. We've had our opportunity to go up and say, hey, this is what we think. But now there's a lot of Q&A, back and forth, interaction. When we get to training camp, I mean, our installs will be bada boom, bada bing. And
we got one of the Sopranos.
And then we got to get to the real stuff. We've got to get to Dak at the line and make sure that we're seeing the things and getting communication. Because those guys play the game, and he's the leader of the band out there.
And again, we know that he's owned this offense. He's got ownership of this offense when it comes to Dak Prescott and McCarthy. Whatever language you use, whatever the changes may be in the accent or thoughts or unknown pronunciations of certain plays, they're on the same page. That's what's important. So it's great to see. It's great to see both these guys on the same page. So that's going to make the offense click better. And listen, even I think somebody made this comment that they think that, with Kellen Moore, a lot of times it was a situation where Kellen Moore would, maybe you don't see the comfort level. Yeah, he felt comfortable because they were teammates, but it's different when you're taking it from the coach, not your teammate, Kellen Moore. So, I think Dak had not his fault on this. Again, I wish I could find something to say, okay, this is his fault, but how could it be his fault if he felt comfortable in talking with a teammate named Kellen Moore, who's also now your coach, and they're working together to what works best maybe for one situation, but Kellen Moore is going to have the keys to the car, and Dak's going to follow. He was here when Dak was here, so when Dak came here, Kellen Moore was already here, his teammate, so it's just not a good, I don't know. I don't like that for a business relationship side of things. I like the way McCarthy's handling this a little bit more, more with time with the quarterbacks, more involved with the quarterbacks. And McCarthy, he is, putting the keys that he has. Right? It's like he designed the car. He's putting the keys in Dak's hand. And that's the hope going forward. Now, I have no issues with, I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. Some people might not like this. But I do believe that Dak Prescott, he's a top 10 quarterback, solidly in the NFL. I truly believe that with better coaching, he definitely solidifies in the top 10, maybe higher. But Dak Prescott is more than enough than what we need here for this team to succeed if the coaching, you want to call it catering, caters to Dak Prescott's skill set. Kind of like saying, we have Tom Brady, but let's make him scramble all the time. You're not catering to Tom Brady's skill set. You guys understand? Anyways, we got Marco Seppian dropping that 1, 2, 3, 4. You know it. The 5 on it. And he's taking first place ownership. Dak got the ownership of the team. Mark got the ownership of the overall board right now. 92 points as well. Dorrance Armstrong-like on the stream boss. And he said, we got a top 5 defense. So many skilled players. We have to win now as we have many... questions next year. I pray the offensive line holds up. Just need small upgrades for a Super Bowl. 100% Mark. 100% agreed. Little tweaks is all we need. That's why I keep saying this, Mark. I think on defense, we've upgraded more than I thought we'd upgrade this year. Can we all agree on that together? I think the fact that we re-signed Curse and some of the LVEs and some of these guys that we kind of know their use and role on this team, Dan Quinn trusts and knows them. And then we went out there and got, Stephon Gilmore. And then we went out there and drafted Mozzie Smith and other and Overshown. Just saying, to me, this feels like the defense is going to be better. Can I say that? 2 years ago, they were unbelievable. Last year, were fantastic. This year, they're going to be better than both those years, in my opinion. They're better this year. Our defense is going to be a top 1, 2, or 3 and consistently the entire year. I truly think number 1. But, hey, maybe I'm just a Cowboy fan thinking that way. And then you think of the offense. I don't need them to be ranked number 2 or number 1 offense in the NFL. I need them to be ranked. If they're number 1 because they're scoring 35 points a game, every game, I'm cool with that. I don't want to score 50 points and then 10. And every other game do that. Because that's what we were doing. Whether it's good teams, bad coaching, bad playing by the players, whatever it was, not on the same page. The skill sets weren't meshing with the play caller and the player. So I think now all we need from McCarthy, look, we got Brandon Cooks. All right, we got a bit of an issue on the offensive line, but quick passing, West Coast offense. I'm hoping that they have a plan. I just said to you, one of the major changes on this offense from the play calling is the quick throws from Dak Prescott. That's the game plan. 1 read, 2 read, 3 read, go. It's going to be a lot more scrambling from Dak, and the offense is going to be on the same page. When Dak scrambles, they don't have to look at him. They know the ball's not thrown in 2.5 seconds. Dak is scrambling. The receiver's going to this part, trying to find themselves open. Go and watch Kellen Moore's routes last year. See when Dak had to scramble. See what the receivers did. They ran out of bounds and stopped running they didn't try to get open for their quarterback. I'm just saying that's the Kellen Moore game plan. There was like a ... at the end of the route. Like, okay, well, you run the route, and if it's more than 3 seconds, you keep running the route. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe Robert Prince should have told him come back for the ball, but who knows? Kellen Moore said, no, keep going that route because we go in that direction because Dak knows where he'll find you at. It's just not meshing. I think this is a different. Now everyone's going to know 3 seconds that we better get open because Dak's running for his life. Imagine people looking for the ball more often than before. Go to your spot, turn around. Do you think that hurts your quarterback, guys? It's got to hurt your quarterback if your receivers are taught to do that in that offense. So yes, 100%, Mark. A slight up. The tweaks we got with Brandon Cooks, the tweaks we got with freaking Schoonmaker, and yes, we need a little help on that offensive line. Get Dalton Risner in here. I'll shut up. We do that. Mike McCarthy's offense. Those are the tweaks that makes us make that run this year. I'm with you. I'm with you, brother. Now, Dak Prescott. McCarthy gave the keys to Dak. Let me give you a couple things on Dak and the offense. Dak has 18 game-winning drives since 2016, since his rookie year. That's the most in the entire NFL. Now, again, I know he's been the longest tenure on one team in the NFL right now. But, again, there's guys that have been playing longer and more games than him right now in the NFL. Nobody has 18 game-winning drives since Dak started right now in the NFL. Of course, Brady had and last year, but they're not here anymore. So Dak still can get you in a game. He'll cost you some games. Yeah, he'll hurt you here and there once in a while. Every quarterback has an issue here and there, but Dak will always be able to pull you back into the game. Just work towards his skill set. Don't work against his strengths. Work towards his strengths. Now, what about Dalton Schultz last year? One of the strengths connections of Dak to Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz, was it that Dalton Schultz made Dak a better quarterback or the other way around? Did Dak make Dalton Schultz a better tight end? The answer is obvious to me. Now, the Texans have Dalton Schultz. Good luck with him. Because you look at his splits when he had Dak Prescott as his quarterback and Dak Prescott not as his quarterback since 2020. So we're talking about a 2-year sample size. Okay, 20, 21, 20, 3-year sample size. With Dak Prescott, Dalton Schultz averaged 47.9 yards per game. Without Dak Prescott, he averaged 27.9 yards per game. We're talking about a 20-yard drop-off, complete drop-off, 20 yards right off the map when Dalton Schultz was getting passes thrown to him by somebody not named Dak Prescott. Big drop-off. Now, what about touchdowns? Well, with Dak Prescott, Dalton Schultz had 15 touchdowns in 33 games with Dak Prescott since 2020. Same thing, without Dak Prescott, he had half the amount of games, 15 games, but he only had 2 touchdowns. Like, you figure he has 6 or 7 touchdowns at least. The other quarterbacks not named Dak Prescott, he has 2 touchdowns. Dak Prescott, with Dak Prescott, 15 touchdowns. And again, yes, 33 games with Dak. Well, 15 with not Dak. 2 touchdowns to 15 touchdowns. Come on now. So Dak made Dalton. Nothing. Anybody who thought it was the other way around, well, you'll see how that's wrong. Dak will make the tight ends work. Dak will make the Ferguson do his thing. He'll make the Schoonmaker do his thing. He'll make the Hendershot do his thing. Hendershot's got to catch the fucking ball. That was one of the interceptions from Dak last year at the Tennessee game. Hendershot knocked the ball up in the fucking air, hit him right in the hands. Can't blame that on Dak. So, again, these guys, they make the catches. Dak should be able to get the tight ends the ball in an effective, consistently effective way. You hear me? You feel me? We feel a little better? Now, again, it's all about, keep this in mind, the quick passing, the offensive line issues, I agree, but we got the quick passing in the house now, the quicker reads, quicker passing, quicker reads is going to have more. I guess you're going to be able to create more from the offensive side of the ball from Dak Prescott through his side of the ball. So again, when you look at that, you might say, okay, did this impact? Everybody got impacted the same when Dak was not there, right? You're assuming this, but what I'm saying with Dalton Schultz, and well, no, actually, when you look at the numbers, barely even made a difference in CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper. In the last, in 2020 and 2021, it did not impact these guys nearly as much as it impacted Dalton Schultz. So, whether or not Amari helped Dak some, I'm sure he did. And same with CeeDee Lamb, helped Dak some. Dak helped them some. Well, we know for sure that Dak helped a lot in Dalton Schultz and what he did. So, good luck with that Eastside Harold. Enjoy Dalton Schultz without Dak Prescott. You're going to get below average numbers from him. Now, I'm going to say one last thing about CeeDee Lamb because this is what he did last year. Last year, without Dak Prescott for 5 games, CeeDee Lamb was top 5 in receptions. He was top 6 in receiving yards in the NFL. Top 8 in touchdowns. Top 4 in deep passes caught, which was, by the way, 20 yards or more. And he had, again, top 4 in 20-yard or more catches. He was also top 4 in targets. CeeDee Lamb is obviously, as I said this, not just a top receiver, he's a top 5 receiver in the NFL, our definite number 1. He proved that last year after that Giants game. I think it was the emergence of CeeDee Lamb's new elite tier. And he showed it last year with or without Dak Prescott. So keep that in mind. Even though he did drop that pass against the Giants with Cooper Rush. Mark Hovsepian, another 1-2 punch, another 1-2 holler. He said, we had a top 5 D. Add Mozzie and Gilmore now? Scary. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Mark. Exactly. Again, we just talk about tweaking the offense, but we tweaked the defense too. I didn't think that was even really possible. I guess, yeah, cornerback, they listen to Dan Quinn, right? On offense, we got Brandon Cooks, takes the top off, opens up a lot of other receiving options. Like I said, Schoonmaker's going to block, and he's going to do 40-50% of the snaps. He's going to have a starting role there for us with Ferguson, who's going to be more of the Blake Jarwin guy, right? And, Pollard with whatever power back we got in there for pass protection, because I believe that's another big part of this thing. A lot of the changes, I'm on my last kind of list of notes of changes to McCarthy's offensive scheme. So when you add those defensive upgrades, and there are upgrades for damn sure, it's already going to complement even better this offense and defense, and we need the offense to pick up the slack. Just a slight improvement, just a couple tweaks on offense. And we are going to be rolling and challenging the top spots. To me, it's about consistency. If you want that 6th Super Bowl, you want that 6th Super Bowl, you got to be consistent. I've seen it in the 90s from our team. I know that's what it takes to win throughout a season. So you gotta think about this as 20 games, not we can't think or 21 games. You can't think of this as regular season winning. Right? Regular season champs don't mean crap. Mark Hovsepian, he knows that, and he's dropping another $2 holler here, saying, "Why didn't Philadelphia?" Right? And I said, "Why didn't Philadelphia refuse to double CeeDee Lamb? So stupid." Yeah, because, well, number one, they brag about having Darius Slay and James Bradbury, which we saw what he did in the Super Bowl, Bradbury, but they brag about that, and then next thing you know, how are they going to cover all of our weapons if they got a double CeeDee Lamb? Yeah, that's the thing. So I hear you, man. But I do think that to double a guy like the CeeDee Lamb, if they double him, they're gonna get burned by Brandon Cooks. They're gonna get cooked by Brandon Cooks. They're gonna get beat by Gallup. They're gonna get beat by Schoonmaker or Ferguson or Pollard out of the backfield. They're gonna get beat by a lot of other guys. The man Mark Hovsepian with that deuce, the greatest of all time. Emmitt Smith, the $22 holler, in first place, fully loaded on that Stream Boss. Man, with the big orange drop. That's the drop of the week already, guys. Oh, man, the message was retracted. I missed it. Damn it. I didn't see it. We didn't have to. What is that? Maybe you want to repost it. Maybe. I don't know. We do have to consider Philadelphia as it had an. Oh, yeah. No. Hey, I agree. I hear you. No. Philadelphia Eagles had a great draft. But, I think that it's going to be a battle between us, the Eagles, and the Niners for the NFC. It's just going to be like if we can corral that first seed home bye, if we can get that gives us the inside track over both of those teams. That's why it's so important to kind of win the regular season. But just because you win the regular season don't mean it's over. It's far from it. So to me, we get that first round bye. It makes our road a lot easier. Not that I want it easy, but I wanted to make sure it's as manageable as possible. Rather than have to go through the Niners and the Eagles, we just have to play at home against probably one of those teams, maybe both, but it'd be in Dallas, right? So it's a lot of things to worry about and deal with and manage throughout a season. But the Eagles had a fantastic draft. They had some fantastic moves this offseason. Cannot doubt that. But I also think so do we. So it's really who plays best when the lights are on. You know what figures this thing out in the end? It's these players on the field. And I think if our defense is this insanely crazy, and I say crazy as in a very good thing, if our defense is this fantastic that I expect them to be a top 1, 2, or 3 easily, and I truly believe they're even more than that, but let's just say we're top 3. That's going to be enough of a difference. It's going to show on that field week in, week out, and helping our offense week in and week out. I truly believe that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see how our team comes together versus a team like the Niners and a team like the Eagles, especially, how they're building their teams as well. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting, Mark. Appreciate the love there. I mean, he's just taking over tonight, the top spot right now on the overall board. I think Skeptical might have 26 up there. I'll recheck that later. I think he has a 9 or 10 lead over Jason Renfro. That's the membership gifting champions over here. I hope you heard it. Also, Mark, if you wanted to join the membership, there's a way of doing that. They're just trying to get the gifting membership. So, I don't know if you did that. The wife had went over that a little earlier with you. I'm going to finish this up with a really interesting little ending here, I think, about what the running game side of things and what can we see? The running game, passing game. What we heard about the, quick throws, quick reads, scrambling earlier for Dak. We hear the passing side of things. Some of the images, right? Some of the verbiage. Whether Dak and Mike McCarthy have some verbiage slip-ups there. But let's get to the nitty-gritty. Schottenheimer, offensive coordinator. We know he's the running game kind of master. He's going to be the run designer. Schottenheimer, guys, specifically mentioned in his discussions this past week, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, and Tony Pollard, along with Dak, as the veterans who signed off on this new offense. Again, it's not his offense, it's McCarthy's offense. But from Schottenheimer, he said this, that Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, Tony Pollard, and Dak were the veterans who signed off on this new offense. To me, it makes me see that most of the Cowboys' offensive changes are coming in the running game and the pass protection department. How you like them apples? And why do I say that? It makes sense. Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, Tony Pollard. Why would Schottenheimer even mention these 3 guys? That's running and run blocking. Dak, signing off on this. Are we going to focus more on running the ball or the run game and pass protection? I believe it's run game and pass protection, not just running the ball blindly. So think of it like this, guys. Schottenheimer, the one thing I've said this before when he was hired, I didn't like him as a coordinator making plays, but I like him as a play designer on the run side of things. I like his impact on play action. He's a heavy play action guy. McCarthy, not so much. So it balances out McCarthy a little bit by having a Schottenheimer in there to use, maybe a little more run, which is maybe something that McCarthy doesn't want. He's more of a throw guy. I know we've seen the run game before, but he's a guy that likes to get out there and throw West Coast offense. So Schottenheimer's a little more play action, a little more run zone. So, and there's some changes there with Soliari. Remember, guys, he was in Seattle, and with Schottenheimer, and they both were connected in Seattle. Schottenheimer was in Seattle with Soliari, who was the offensive line coach in Seattle. They worked together on that run game and pass protection stuff. So I think the same thing you can say is lining up for our Cowboy offensive scheme. And so Schottenheimer, very good run designer. That's something we've been lacking in Dallas. The one thing we know about Schottenheimer that's pretty good, is the run design. Schottenheimer, Brian Schottenheimer is a good run design coach, play designer for the run game. So, and him working along with Soliari as their offensive line coach in Seattle, they were good at working in tandem. So I think that, the fact that Schottenheimer is talking about these running kind of pieces on offense, and you're talking about Soliari out there on the offensive line coach working with Schottenheimer, it tells me this is about pass protection and trying to run an efficient running game here, use an efficient running game. The pass game for the Cowboys hasn't been an issue except for the Kellen Moore factor, which, again, I'll say, Kellen Moore's plays worked well when competition wasn't a top 5 competition, right? But it's about the adjustments more than it was the competition. The adjustments from Kellen Moore was more than lacking. You have the stop routes, predictable run to the first down marker and turn around and stand there. That's what Kellen Moore's plays usually looked like. Go check it out if you don't believe me. What is Dak supposed to do? Throw it through 5 pairs of hands, to get it to Gallup? And he's, again, getting covered and they know exactly where he's at. So to me, the passing game, the actual effectiveness of the passing game when the route concepts developed against lesser defenses and lesser teams, that worked okay with Kellen Moore. But it was more about the inconsistency of that and the usage of some of your passing plays, some of your situational football, some of your situational play calling. And again, stop routes at the first down marker. The running game being extremely inconsistent did not help help out the pass game too much. So never did Schottenheimer say, guys, not once did Brian Schottenheimer say or mention a single primary pass catcher, meaning a receiver or tight end, when it comes to the offensive scheme and the changes. So you guys feel me here? Sounds like tight ends and receivers outside of the route options for the receiver options, those are scrapped. Trust me, McCarthy can't stand that. Kellen Moore loved that. So that's taken out. So now you're going to get, outside of those predictable play calls, you're going to move those out a little bit and kind of improve those things through McCarthy. The run game was the inconsistent part. That's where Schottenheimer and Soliari are coming in, designing plays. And then McCarthy will say, okay, now use that creative run play you called. You designed there, Schottenheimer. You designed there with Soliari. Now you use that play. That's the way it's going to be. He's calling the plays. Design might be of Schottenheimer and Soliari, but it's going to be called by McCarthy. So the run game inconsistent. You're seeing the help there. You see Schottenheimer not mentioning. He mentioned the running back. He mentioned offensive line. He mentioned Dak, but he did not mention a receiver or a tight end in the changes of this offense. To me, it is telling to what the Cowboys are trying to do with this new scheme, 30 to 35% change. More zone runs, but it's going to be technique different. That's what McCarthy said. Overall, will it be less running? Last year, we were one of the highest running years we've had, like percentage-wise. Like I think it was 48 to 52. We ran 48 and passed 50. That's very, very balanced. But in the NFL, that's very, very high running output for the Cowboys. So less running, I think, is going to happen. I think it'll be less running the ball. I know people are going to kill me for this, but I truly believe less running. I think there'll be a lot more pass catching out of the backfield. Tony Pollard, Deuce Vaughn, Turpin could be rolling around back there. I'm just saying, I see playmakers getting the ball in the hands. That's what McCarthy wants. That's what Dak said he wants. Less tight end pass protection. So you might get a Schoonmaker doing a little inline blocking, maybe as a fullback. He can play inline, can play fullback. Schoonmaker may do that. And technically, he would be a tight end, but he'd be playing the running back role. I think he wants to use more of that pass protection, if you even need that. Because remember, guys, you only need 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds to get that ball out with the quick reads in the West Coast styled offense. So I think when you don't need the ultimate best blocking to hold for 3 or 4 seconds, because you can get the ball out of there in 2 seconds or 3. And the same thing goes for a tight end. The tight ends don't have to sit there and pass protect for 3 seconds because, well, the ball's going to be out of there before 3 seconds, or Dak's breaking the pocket and scrambling. Scramble drill. A lot more of that's happening this year. So less tight end pass protection means more tight ends down the field. Ferguson and Schoonmaker if needed. More catching out of the backfield, like I said, Deuce Vaughn and Tony Pollard. And less pure running, I think. More effective running, more creative run plays, but less overall running than we had last year. 48%, you might drop down to 45 or 42% running and 58% passing. That seems more likely. And when we run more zone runs with a different technique, that's up to Soliari. That's Soliari and Schottenheimer. They're coming up with the creative plays. Let's leave it in their hands. That's what McCarthy is doing. So to finalize this thing, I want to know what you guys, I'm going to hit the chat up now. I want to know what you all think about this. But to me, this is a new scheme that creates more running back success. All right? So you not have to run them more, but you get more success with Pollard or Deuce Vaughn or whoever's running the damn ball, Malik Davis. But you have a new scheme here. West Coast offense, right? Texas Coast offense that creates more running back efficiency, more running back success, still keeping our passing attack very similar and again, attacking on the field in the Kellen Moore kind of style, but no more Kellen Moore route options, no more Kellen Moore play calling script, no more Kellen Moore lack of adaptation in the play calling in a game. That's what we're going to see flushed down the motherfucking toilet. And we need to get more success in the running game. Creativity in the play call and when to call that play. Creativity in the play call, that's coming from Schottenheimer and Soliari, offensive line coach and offensive coordinator. And the play call is coming from McCarthy. There's no Kellen Moore imprint here anymore. And I think that's what helps us when it comes to these things. You want to talk about route options down the field? Kellen Moore might have been the best. But it didn't suit this entire offense. It did not mesh and no cohesion here. I think now that it's McCarthy's offense, he's done it before. He knows how to adjust and adapt. That's what I'm hoping to see, not just in the offseason, but throughout the season on offense. And that little bit could be enough to make the biggest difference, to make this team complementary on offense, defense, and special teams, and really take it to the next level as a team that's not just talked about, that maybe makes a run, a team that will make a run for that Super Bowl. You know it. Now, let me take a breath here, guys. Again, a lot of discussion here, a lot of talk here. I hope I got my point across. I'm glad I didn't make this a quickie tonight because it definitely was not going to be a quick one with this kind of discussion here. But, it definitely took care of a lot of my thoughts of this team going forward. And I'm going to probably dive into this more in the next 5 weeks about some other changes or things we hear as new things trickle out about this offense. I can't wait to see what comes on this. And what comes of this offense going into the season. But again, we got to hold our breaths. Still question marks about how we look at this, right? And, I do think that it's going to be no matter what. It just needs to be a little bit better. If we could just be a little bit better than last year in the Kellen Moore, ooh, man. It could be Super Bowl 6 for our Cowboys, or it could be us, having another out once again. So let me look in the chat here, guys. I will shout everybody out. As you can tell, the wife, she's already kind of said good night. I'll shout everybody out / do the comments and thoughts and all that good stuff here. Again, appreciate everybody here hitting that like button, hit subscribe, hitting that notification bell. We do this on the nightly here, guys, or try to. My Cowboys family should be back tomorrow for another one. Keep that in mind. But again, the Cowboy rookies, they're still there at the facility, but they're not doing any workouts. They're doing life training stuff. And the rest of the veterans there right now, well, some of them are still putting in work at these summits and these different these different teaching seminars, and the rest are chilling, relaxing, maxing, all cool. You know what I mean? So let me shout out and quote some of your guys' thoughts here as this thing comes to an end tonight. Lost in Translation podcast, Cue Ball in the house. Antoine 804, Rolando Rodriguez always repping it here. He don't want to give away his tricks, right? Zeke doesn't want to give it away. Max World Media, much love for you joining us here tonight. He says Sam Williams better than D-Law. Again, like the wife said, I think that more snaps for Sam Williams equals will be more successful next year. He'll be taking over. I think next year he takes over for DeMarcus Lawrence, Sam Williams. I hope so. Lost in Translation. Bruce got the toxic juice. Eric Wallace, what's up? Chappelle Hannon, what is up? Let's go Cowboys. C. Bass, he said they forgot Dak had 3 wide receivers. And they're going to remember this year, right? Hasselbeck doesn't have a Super Bowl ring, said C. Bass. I know. I don't think he does, right? Maybe as a backup. I'm not even sure. Cubo said, I'd rather have a coach who plays basically his whole career to a coach who was a backup quarterback for 5 years. Exactly. Orlando Rodriguez said, what happens if the Cowboys lose the Chargers, Kellen Moore on prime time? If we lose, we lose. It sucks, right? I can't see that happening. I don't care how Chargers may win the Super Bowl next year. I just don't see how that happens. Kellen Moore's offense, no matter, I just don't see him making a 180 against a Dan Quinn defense that we know is going to bring it. That'd be shocking to me. That would suck. Snug X, of course, we know why he's here. Cactus G in the place to be. The learning curve of the new offense should be easier than with Kellen Moore last year and the year before and the year before and the year before. He said we should have kept Sean Payton. No, that's very, very long ago. That's curdled milk. That's curdled spilled milk. We can't go back on that one, Chappelle Hannon. Cue Ball said that me consistently would maintain our scoring average. Exactly. If you can still maintain 30 to 31 points a game, but get them actually 28 to 35 points a game, we're good to go on offense. But if you get 50 points in one game and 20 points in another game and lose, that's where the stats are bullshit. Seabass said Tolbert and Fehoko seem like bums. Again, we talked about this earlier tonight that, I think we're going to see the battle kind of play out in training camp and in preseason. To me, Simi Fehoko, I'm watching him in a game. I don't care about training camp with Fehoko. He's shown us he can do it. He can't do it when the lights come on. So I got to see him play well when the lights come on. He does that, all right. He takes that 4th spot, a lead there. If he doesn't, I think Tolbert's taking it from him. Mike Aldana repping it here with us. Lost in Translation, Max World Media, Mark Hovsepian always here repping it. Much love to him, by the way. The sponsor of the week, the Cash App, the Stream Boss, 100 points, and the leader on the overall board. Snug X is the Cash App King as we speak. There is no leader in the Cash App right now. Skeptical fan, always staying skeptical. The membership gifting leader, the king of last month, the leader this month. Once again, much love to him. Star level representation. Cactus G, I'm not a big fan of Mike Fisher, but Mike Fisher agrees with MCF that Tolbert is ahead of Fehoko right now. See? Rolando said, what are you saying? Last year you couldn't see the play sheet. That's why the Cowboys lost the Niners. Well, I do think that McCarthy was not involved. McCarthy was not going to jump in the middle of the year and take over the play calling sheet. And in an installed offense that Kellen Moore, did it from the McCarthy said, when you install this offense, you got to run it the whole year that way. It's a major issue if you don't. Well, that's why McCarthy let it ride out and let basically Kellen Moore, hang himself. Frame Rivers gifted that membership from Skeptical Fan. Congrats to him on that. And everybody else who's got gifted memberships from Skeptical Fan so far, kicking off a new week. Cue Ball here, of course, rocking it with us. Big Mike and Brian will be on the same page. Makes the Cowboys more effective. Exactly. Just on these few things. It's on McCarthy's rules now. McCarthy's guiding the offense. Did you really feel like Kellen Moore was guiding the offense, but did you really feel he had, he was man enough to guide the offense? I don't know what to say. I just didn't feel like he really ever had ownership of the offense. He just had the right to do whatever he wanted to, but he didn't have the confidence, in my opinion, to run this offense in Kellen Moore, and that's for 4 freaking years. Skeptical said 25 out of 2,000. Maybe 26 will be yours. Exactly. You never know, right? Or 20,000. Yeah, I know. We talk about the fans. We got 22,000 plus in here, but yeah, if you're in the chat and you're typing in here, you will definitely get a chance to get a free membership if someone drops the gifting. So we'll see what happens. Burn Bar picked that one up. Again, you got to switch that accepting gifts. You do that in the chat. Many different ways to do that on your guys' side of things. Just finishing the shout-outs here as we're wrapping this thing up. Skeptical Fan here. He tried. Bruce got the toxic juice. Cactus G. He said, quarterbacks don't have the luxury of 2.5 seconds because defense gets to them quicker. It's true. But if Dak knows he's got that 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds to get the ball out of his hands, I think that is a very, the way they're going to plan the offense. It's one thing if you are not planning for that and you're sitting there hoping you have 2.5 to 3 seconds. Another thing where you're always banking on having 2.5 seconds and you break pocket. That to me is the difference from last year and this year. Even though I agree with Cactus, you got to be quicker in this day and age when it comes to defenses being extremely faster than they were in the past. Scorpio, here with us in the house. Talking heads are going to compare us that Chargers game. I know. I hear you, Rolando, but let them talk it. Let them talk it. It's all good, Mark. He dropped that 22 to kind of end his reign here at the top for now. Thomas Garrett, all of the above is what he said. He says, hell, they knew Kellen Moore was the weak link. They knew that. They had to stay tight-lipped about the offensive philosophy. They knew that Kellen Moore would have went and told Daddy Jerry. And you know that's correct, Thomas Garrett. Agreed. Orlando says, yeah, I hit your comment up. I know Orlando kept posting it. I'm glad I got to catch it there. Traveling Fools. What a fool. He's in the house. We may differ on opinions. He may be wrong about most things. He's still a good guy. Much love, Traveling Fools. You and your wife. Much love. Scorpio, Rolando Rodriguez. Bruce got that toxic juice. He said Kellen Moore is going to get this work. I expect Dan Quinn and his defense to really manhandle the Chargers' offense and their offensive game plan. Unless they get some kind of lucky, bounce of the ball, we win that game against the Chargers. Even though everyone's saying it's going to be a real tough one, I look at Dan Quinn versus Kellen Moore. I see Dan Quinn eradicating Kellen Moore in that matchup. Good night, Rolando. Have a good one. Appreciate you, man. Traveling Fools, peace. Scorpio, always the love. Everybody in the house, thank you for dropping in here, saying hi, hitting that like button, hitting subscribe, hitting that notification bell. Following us on all social media, mainly Twitter, but at My Cowboys Family and all those forums. And you guys rocking it with us tonight. Once again, cannot do it without your love and support, your conversation, your back and forth. Our sponsor of the week, the man Mark Hovsepian, who's also the man running that stream boss. He's fully loaded. Much love to the man Mark Hovsepian. Much love to our May champion, the whole month of May, the champion of gifting memberships, the man staying skeptical. Skeptical fan. Last month he gifted 24 memberships. This month, he's the leader over Jason Renfro. Jason has 16. Skeptical fan has 25 already this month, breaking his old record. Much love to Skeptical on that side. A star level representation. As you can see up here, there's multiple star level members here, and appreciate you guys rocking that top spot with us. Of course, can never forget about that Cash App. That's a big part of other ways of dropping the love here. The king is the man, SnugX. Much love to you, brother. We know why he's here. Not just the love for that star. The love, the wife. The wife brings the boys to the yard. You know what I mean? And I can't hate you guys for loving her. She's mine, though. I'm happy. I'm a happy man. SnugX knows the deal, and he also knows he's repping that star for everything. So much love to Snug. There is nobody in the Cash App starting off this week, so Cash App is wide open. Open. So anyways, guys, everything else is rolling. Appreciate everybody here. Memberships, gifting, the drops of love, the comments in the chat all night long. Cannot do this whole thing without you guys. And never forget why the wife and I do this each and every night here. The late night show on My Cowboys Family. It's about that navy blue. That silver, too, and that star over everything. Win, lose, or draw. Good, bad, or ugly. On this channel, we always rep that star over every player, over every coach, over every damn Jerry Jones owner on this. It's a star over everything. Here on My Cowboys Family on July 1st, the big party. We're going to have a big party here on MCF. Cameras on, one-time viewing for our 1 year anniversary. Our 6 year anniversary on YouTube. A couple weeks away, guys. So join us there. We'll see you guys soon for that. But yes, almost 6 years on YouTube. Never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, now Cowboys! Let's get that 6 and beyond. You know the deal here. Hey, the Heat lost. That's right. Yeah, I should have said that at the beginning of the stream. But yes, congrats to the Denver Nuggets winning their first championship, I think, in 46 years of their existence, right? That's 50 years to wait, basically, for a championship. But congrats to the Denver Nuggets. Didn't really care who won this one, but I do like the NBA. Not a fan of the Heat. Don't care about the Heat. But again, it was cool to see them as an 8th seed. Anyways, back to football. Back to you guys in the chat. Thank you for dropping your knowledge all night long. All night. Don't worry, guys. I'll never get dinged or copyrighted from that because I can't sing like that. So thank you all for dropping the knowledge all night long. Can't do this back and forth interaction without you all. Also appreciate your drops of love, support, donations, whatever you call it. Appreciate your support, love for this channel on the nightly, guys. And those that dropped it tonight, they dropped it like it's hot. Skeptical Fan, Dwayne Broussard, Aztec, SnugX, and Mark Hovsepian. Appreciate you all once again. Can't do this without you all. But now good things must come to an end. We'll be relocked and reloaded. Looks like we'll probably come back for another show tomorrow. So we'll get into the ins and outs of our Cowboys on the nightly. But before we can drop out officially for the night, and tonight the wife is not here to help me with this one. She has an earlier morning tomorrow, so I have a later morning. So I have the luxury of kind of chatting it up a little bit later. But hey, things come to an end. The close of the show. You know we got to do before we relock and reload for another one tomorrow, guys. Before we can drop out of here, as the wife always says, before we can drop out of here, we got to drop the beat. Oh, yeah. Thank you. I hope you like my VTuber, guys. Just bouncing around like that. Hey, I'm going to remind everybody what to do here. When it comes to basic mathematics, basic facts, tell your friends, family, loved ones, anybody who's an Eagle fan, remind them 5 is always greater than 1, baby. You know it. And you can sing them a song, make them a little happier, cheer them up a little bit. Cry, Eagles, cry. Bitches. Thank you guys for joining us for another one here on My Cowboys Family. Another Cowboys chat. It's a wrap here in the books. And thank you all for rocking with us here. Another fun-filled evening on My Cowboys Family. Guys, we talked about McCarthy's game. The whole point of this 2-hour stream was basically McCarthy's game plan, his changes, the offensive changes, what we definitely know and what we should be seeing going forward. Thumbs up right now between McCarthy, Dax, Schottenheimer, the running game. We'll talk about this and more, I'm sure, in the next 5 weeks as we get closer to training camp, baby. You know the deal. You know what's coming next, and you know what's next here in MCF. It's always about that navy blue, that silver too, that star over everything right here on My Cowboys Family. Never forget the number one thing right here in MCF. Much love to everybody. We'll see you back tomorrow for another one. Have a good night. Much love, truly, guys, here with the family. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. But have a good, safe rest of your night. We'll see you back here tomorrow for another one. Much love, guys. Peace. And oh, yeah, never, ever forget. Go Cowboys!
On the